Hey there. I know we had a couple of people waiting. Who's here? Six people looks like we got here. How's everybody doing? Speak up. Everybody's shy. Hey, Tyler, how are you? Good to see you. You are speechless. Okay. Father Sean, how are you, lad? Good to see you. Prabhaka, hi. How are you? Ruben Jimenez, hi. How are you? Good to see you, Johnny. How you doing? Okay. Starting to populate. That's good. Um, Well, I'll just to start, we're obviously going to talk about the Belmont, and we'll talk about the full card for Saturday at Saratoga. It was obviously a hell of a day, needless to say. And, I've seen a lot of people. Good cat. Hi, how are you? Hotel. Okay. Um, I've seen a lot of people on X saying this was the worst year of. Hey, RoboCop, how you doing? Hi, Robert. Oh, good. Thank you. Good. I'm glad you told me that, Robert. I should have asked a while ago. Um, I've seen a lot of people on X talking about yesterday, and the sentiment seems to be everybody said, "Well, this is my worst handicapping of all time," and just the worst year ever. And hey, listen, it happens to everybody. I've reached out to a few people who have said that. I had a decent day yesterday. So deterministic saved the day for me. I got the trifecta and the exacta. Um, and the pick five, I was doing pretty well. The Jaipur I missed, but I had my first the three races in a row. I had my first choice, my primary win selection hit, and then Golden Tempo upset the apple cart. Listen, this Triple Crown year, it happens every once in a while. You just get one of those wide open years, and you just can't read it. To think that Golden Tempo was going to take the move forward he did, it was hard to know that he was going to do that. It really was. Commandment, I didn't use it all, and he bounced right back, and he ran a hell of a good race. Renegade, we thought he'd take a step forward or at least run the way he normally does. He may have. He plateaued. Um, maybe the Derby took more out of him than we thought it would. I don't know. It was I've watched the race a few times, and my sentiment is, hi, Lori. It and Yeah, nobody. Golden Tempo was hard to get to. He really was, but I'll tell you, he really took a big step forward. Closing into a slow pace like that was unanticipated, and he was definitely, I mean, he won two out of three legs of the Triple Crown, and I think you'd have to say that aside from Englishman, uh, uh, or yeah, aside from Englishman, he's probably the best 3-year-old. Um, and You had Reef Runner, Sean. Okay, um, yeah, a lot of people didn't have Golden Tempo. It wasn't easy to get to him. Let's see. Laura says the worst. Spitting into the wind would have had better results. Plus, I took the day off work. Well, yeah, um, yeah, right, Tyler. You know what? That early pick five was the first two pick fives. The second pick five paid $350,000. That's like one ticket. The first pick five which I thought was mostly chalk. Not one of them showed up. Cold Spell got, I thought, a terrible ride from Flavian Pratt. And then the next race, I forget who the jockey was. He got a terrible ride. So there was two bad rides in a row. They were coming from off the pace, where Saratoga generally favors early pace. They weren't anywhere near it. They had no chance. It was brutal. And then Intellect was probably the second best bet on the day. He didn't run at all. I mean, it was just a terrible. The opening P5 was tough. And I thought races like 4 through 6 were tough, where like you had to spread. They were challenging. Yeah, the early part of the card was really tough. Senior Officer was second tower. That's right. It was brutal, but I actually did a lot better when we got into the stakes races. But the Belmont was just kind of a mind blower. Yeah. I thought it was the best bet of the day. I really didn't see how Cold Spell could lose. Let's see. Anala Rickenbach. Hi, how are you? I haven't seen you before. Good to see you. Commandment wasn't bumped. He kept leaning on Golden Tempo, and Golden Tempo pushed back. I'll be honest. Watching the race, and we'll play the race a little later. I want to get a few more people in here first. I think the race was free of excuse for anybody. I thought it was an extremely form-fitting race. Chief Wallaby got pushed a little bit. Robert, not to me. I don't think the rain had anything to do with it. Not a thing. I really don't. It started raining just before the race. That's not enough time for it to affect the track. I thought everybody ran their race for the most part. Chief Wallaby had a little trouble early. I got a very good report that he was going to be forwardly placed from a very good source, very good friend of mine who knows Junior Alvarado. And he got back to me and said, Alex, Chief Wallaby will be forwardly placed, and he wasn't. And I think it's because he got pinched going up the backstretch a little bit, or up the first time around, the first turn. But he just, I kind of, after the Derby, I sort of gave up on Chief Wallaby, to be quite honest. I just didn't think I think he still needs a lot of maturing. Let's see. Trebek, I don't know. I think Emerging Market was okay. I just don't think he had it. And again, it was only his fourth start. But let's see what Nala says. Did you notice when they cleared the other horses, Golden Tempo went over to the left to get away from Commandment, and then he pulled away? Do you mean at the break? Because at the break he veered out a little bit. I'm not sure why that was, if that was deliberate or not. To be quite honest, I did notice it. I did think that Golden Tempo was kind of wanting to get to the inside. He had been doing that earlier. But do I think it impacted the race? No. I think Commandment just got beat. I think he ran a very good race. He ran a lot better than I thought he was going to run. Renegade was probably the major disappointment. I was locked into him with all kinds of doubles from Friday's card. And, and hey, he just didn't fire. I mean, what can I say? Okay, with Thermarsal. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. I haven't seen you before. Good to see you. Let's see. Oh, I want to get to this one. I tossed Commandment, had the other three, but the fourth horse I threw in private equity, growth equity, and boxed those four. Yeah, growth equity. I guess we can't say I was totally surprised at growth equity. I mean, he was lightly raced too, and again, on the dam side, his pedigree wasn't the strongest for 2 turns. So stumbled badly out of the gate, rushed up to contention, savaged by a Chief going into the first turn, 3 to 4 wide every inch. Wallaby showed up again to slam him coming off the second turn. I think that's a little exaggerated, Prubak. I'm sorry. I do. I don't think. I didn't think he stumbled. I didn't think anybody was bad out of the gate. I thought they were all fine. They really weren't that bad at all. I think that's, if I may, and I don't. I hope you take this the right way, Prubak. I sometimes, when we're rooting for a horse, sometimes we see things that aren't there. And if you go back, we're going to watch the race again, and I'll show it. We'll slow it down. We'll watch everything. But I get it. Hey, I understand. If you had the commandment, it's disappointing, to be sure. Let's see. Let me see what we got here. It's the damn thing. Okay, Nala. I meant towards the wire, but as you said, it didn't impact the race. The two best bred horses finished first and second, in my opinion. Yeah, that's fair. Teresa. Okay, I prefer. I don't like using our online handles. I like to call people by their name. I think it's polite. So thank you, Teresa. And I'm trying to write them down, by the way, so I remember them, because it's not easy. See, I have a senior moment of time returns. You have to forgive me, but I'll try. Teresa Thurmarsol. I got it. Johnny Velasquez made a big difference with Commandment. Johnny V's awesome. I love Johnny Velasquez. He's, to me, you consider he's my age, and he's still pretty damn good. I never have much complaint about Johnny Velasquez at all. If you'll note, I don't think Flavien Prat had a very good day yesterday, and Todd Pletcher was 0 for the day. So. For anybody wondering, this is an Oliva Series V. Fantastic. The Milanio was even better. The Series V Milanio, but I'm having just the Series V tonight. Yeah, I did too, Kenny. I hadn't seen you before. Good to see you, Kenny. Thanks for coming in. Let's see. Tyler's got a question. With how the track was playing, I thought Power Shift was going to wire the field. It was playing towards early speed for the most part, but, look at that Woody Stevens with Englishman. Nisos was probably the best horse of the day. That was a phenomenal trip. Look where he was. He was raiding along the rail, and he was going to go to the front. And he decided to take back, and he still had enough horse to circle around a couple and win decisively. He's a hell of a horse. The Met Mile was pretty awesome. But the Woody Stevens Englishman was the star of the day. But I thought Nisos was the best horse, if that makes sense. I'm shocked you'll see that on replay. I think you will, Prubak. I think you're going to see my perspective. We're going to watch it. We'll go through it. But I'm just telling you from experience, I know a lot of times that's what happens. We get a little rose-colored glasses, if you will. And I don't mean to single you out. I'm sorry if it sounds like that. I apologize. Let's see. Shelly, how are you? Good to see you. Awesome races. Commandments was the furthest wide. Golden Temple Renegade definitely pushed him out wide, but that's race running. Yeah, I think Commandment ran a great race. But if you consider Golden Tempo just right by him in the stretch, nobody was going to beat Golden Tempo that day. Wasn't going to beat him. When you close into a pace that slow, 48 and 112 and change, pretty good. Now, let's see. I was impressed with the horses that came off the pace, certainly. I didn't think they could do it at Saratoga. The track plays to speed, so I was very impressed with the top three finishes. It was a great race. It was a great race. It's hard for us to say that when we don't win. But, it was one of those races. I just watched. I couldn't really find excuses for anybody, with the exception, I thought Chief Wallaby got taken back a little bit early on, and that prevented him perhaps from being more forwardly placed, because he basically got the same ride he got in the Derby, which was probably pretty good. But we thought for this Belmont, he needed to be more forwardly placed, and he wasn't. Made a big move in the stretch. I'm not sure the distance is what he wants, and that's what Belmont said. He goes, I think that might be a little far for him. And I tend to believe he might be right. It's hard to disagree with Belmont. Let's see. I'll get this eventually, guys. Let's see. Laura. He was, Laura. He was definitely 0 for Saturday. I can tell you that for sure. He did not fire at all. Very unusual. Let's see. Yeah, Sean. Yeah, they're pretty good, Sean. I'll leave it to you know that you never. I was at my cigar store today, and I was talking with the owner, and oddly enough, he just got some Davidoffs, which I love, and he had some Puro Dominicanas. I had them; they had knots in them. I couldn't believe it for Davidoffs. You never get that with Oliva. They're just beautiful cigars. I mean, they're just they never let you down. They're always consistently good. The Milanios in particular, I just love to death. Okay, and yeah, Robert, I cannot believe Solitude Dude did not make the money. Nisos was my only win. Yeah, it was a tough card for a lot of people. Solitude Dude, hey, nobody was going to be the Englishman that day. Nobody. Look at those fractions. 21 and change, 43, 107. 107 for 6 furlongs, 120 for 7 furlongs. Tied the track record. It's an amazing performance, absolutely amazing. And I just didn't think he had it in him. I thought Crude Velocity was vulnerable. And that was kind of what I said. Well, if Crude Velocity is vulnerable and he beat Englishman, then Solitude Dude has a chance. And I didn't realize how Solitude Dude's a little horse. Englishman's a big one. You know, if you didn't, that was the one thing I noticed in the Woody Stevens. I go, look how big Englishman is. And since I am an Englishman, I was happy he won, but I didn't bet on him. But yeah, he was. That was the race of the day, the performance of the day, without a doubt. But Nisos was pretty damn good too. I thought he was exceptional. Track played fair yesterday and early in the week, in my opinion. Okay, I didn't watch a lot of races early in the week, Sean, to be honest. So I thought it. I think Saratoga plays generally pretty fair. It is tougher to close than in other tracks. To me, Churchill Downs and Oaklawn are like my two favorite tracks because I think they play the fairest. I think you can win on the front end at Churchill. I think you can close. You can come from off the pace. It all depends. So I like Churchill for that reason because it's so fair. Saratoga, it's a little speed favoring. Belmont, we'll see what the new Belmont looks like, but the old Belmont was if you got on the lead, you had it because those turns are so soft. They're so big, you know. So, hey, Daniel, good to see you. Let's see what we got here. We have Daniel's King and Daniel Zadowski, whom we've seen you guys before. Good to have you, a pair of Daniels. Hello, Alex. Hit the Belmont. Good for you. Win, place, exacta, missed trifecta, boxed 7, 8, 9, missed the superfecta, had it, okay, but emerging market, emerging recession, let me down, love me some tempo, and improving horse. Yes, he was. I did not see that. I really did not see that, but he definitely took a step forward. I think we discounted the fact that he did take a step forward in the Derby, and it's to your credit that you saw it. Good for you. Okay, Daniel King. Hi, Daniel. Do you think DeVoe's Englishman will ever square off against Golden Tempo? No, never. Will never happen. Here's why I say that. CK Racing is a really cool outfit. They've got Baeza too. And they're pretty smart, and they have Stronghold. They've had Express Train, I think they had. It's a good California outfit for the most part, but I think they know what Englishman's really good at. He's a one-turn horse. I wouldn't anticipate they would ever stretch him out to 2, nor would I say they would ever cut Golden Tempo back to 1. I don't think that's ever going to happen. That horse, as I said throughout all the Derby preps and everything, Golden Tempo is bred for 2 turns. That's what he's bred for. That's what he'll run at. He's going to run in the Travers, I'm sure. He'll probably run in the Jockey Club, and then he'll run the Breeders' Cup Classic, would be my guess. I think Englishman, if he continues to run that way, he is going to destroy the sprint division. He's going to win the King's Bishop, or what is now called the Allen Jerkins. They're going to run him in that. They'll probably run him in they may run him in the Vanderbilt. And he'll just go all the way to the Breeders' Cup Sprint, would be my guess. Maybe the mile, if it's at Keeneland, so it's a 2-turn race. They'll probably run him in the sprint, would be my guess. He's awesome. I just didn't see it. I just didn't see. You see so many horses who were really fast in their maiden effort, and then once they step up in class, they don't do it. But he made a believer out of me. He's a hell of a horse. Scott had him. Scott Calabrese. I suspected that Renegade had a sore foot still. Takes 6 months or so to grow out a cracked hoof. The shoes stabilized the hoof wall. Jameson, by the way. But they got sore. He missed a workout after the Derby. Could be, Shelley. I don't know. I haven't heard anything. What I saw was a horse who I think, the knock on Renegade was that he wasn't fast enough. And I think maybe he plateaued. That's what it looked like to me. I think he ran his race in the Belmont. He just wasn't good enough. The others have got better. Commandment took a move forward. Golden Tempo took a move forward, and they went 1-2. Renegade ran his race, a race that was beating the competition early in the year. But always remember, 3-year-olds, this happens. They put on muscle. Further Ado today was very impressive in the Matt win, and I bet him. And the reason I did was because Caitlin Free was like, oh, he's filled out. He's put on muscle. And it happens when you got to always remember they're still growing, right? So I think that had something to do with it. I think Renegade may be one of those horses. He just sort of plateaued. He's kind of a small horse, too. I did notice that in the Belmont. I hadn't picked up on that before. Laura tried to make some money back, but had the wrong horses underneath. It happens. Hey, it's horse racing. Turn the page. Daniel, I thought the dude would lay off English instead of taking the lead, had them box. Yeah. I didn't expect him to be on the lead. I thought it would be Englishman. Don't you hate when that happens? When you foresee the shape of the race, and then all of a sudden it just takes a completely opposite turn. Got lucky with Deterministic. I thought he would be on the lead. I thought he was going to be all by himself. I didn't think Rhetorical would try to run with him again. I thought he would go off the pace. Deterministic would have it all his own way, and he'd win. So he showed another dimension. He rated and won. And I got to tell you, I've heard a lot of people saying, I'm not sure he's a Breeders' Cup horse. I think Deterministic, hey, they thought distance was going to be a problem. He just wanted a 1 3/8, or a 1 3/16, rather. Set the course record. The track was playing fast. There were 3 course records set that day. That's true. But it was the way he won and the fact that he showed stamina. He's for real. I really like that horse a lot. Okay, let's see. Shelley, I didn't realize that Englishman is sired by Maxfield, same as Denon Bourbon, I believe. Beautiful and a great start. Could be. I love the name. I'm an Englishman. That's amazing. If he'd been named Scotsman, I kind of identify with the Scots a little bit more, but I am English. My last name's Remington, if you didn't know. So that's kind of cool, and I'll be rooting for him. He made a total believer out of me. That was just awesome yesterday. That was just awesome. I didn't see that coming at all. Let's see. Still a greenhorn. Be patient. Yeah. Oh, I had Bookham Dano. That was another one. That was my primary choice. I had that one. Loved Bookham Dano. Got up. Also watching One Stripe going forward. He really, yeah, he had his jockey from South Africa again. They flew him in. I wonder about that horse. I just think he's one of those that you always want to put underneath in your exotics, but not on top. He just never seems to get there. I had the trifecta with deterministic. It saved my day because I knew test score was going to run well. And if you did watch my post, I did say that test score was going to be better than what he had shown. And we got him at 12-1. That was beautiful. It's a 300 and change trifecta on a 50-cent bet. So I was like, that saved my day. Otherwise, I think I had 4 out of 13. It was a tough day. Let's see. Uncle Sully. Hey, you didn't get my Twitter earlier? And go back and look at your Twitter and then reply to me and tell me what you think. Was I imagining things, or did Attino appear to have some momentum in the corner, and then Dylan did Dylan things and gets him shuffled back? It wasn't like Paco Lopez wasn't available. Attino did kind of – I didn't expect him to do what he did, meaning they took him back. They were just hoping for a slice, and it didn't materialize because the late runners all came forward and closed. I thought he'd do a little better than that. He had the highest genetic strength value score on the field, bred for that race. Didn't happen. Dylan Davis did have a win, I believe, on the card earlier with a Chad Brown. I can't remember which one it was. Dylan's a good rider. He's okay. He's not an elite rider, but he's not bad. Too much emphasis is placed on jockeys. It's the horse. I say that, but let's see here. I'm trying to get to the new comments, guys. I'm sorry. I'm a greenhorn, as I always tell you. Let's see what we got here. I don't want to miss anything. That's maybe. I want to make sure. Okay. Laura says, Alex, did you see Further Ado won at Churchill today? Yes, I did, and I bet him. And I was very convinced he was going to run a good race because, as I mentioned, Caitlin Free said he'd been putting muscle on. And what I really liked was he had 3 works after the Derby. Right after the Derby, they had him back in training. That was a good sign to me. And that was the Derby horses that ran that field, Patente and Pavlovian. Pavlovian backed up right quick. Patente, they held at the back to make one run. That, to me, was sort of a sign that we're not going to win this. Moneyman finished second, I believe it was. And he had come out of that pick your prize pick race on the last race on Derby Day and ran pretty well. And he got up. I thought not Tistastic, but the Steve Asmussen horse with Jose aboard would do a little bit better. He got third, so I missed the exacta. I had 7-6 cold. But, he had a nice race. Laura, he's a nice horse. I never said he wasn't a good horse. I just said that the Derby, I didn't think he was good enough. And that's what happened. I used to like Sean, you're a man after my own heart. You like cigars, you like Irish whiskey, you like horse racing. And put in a good word for me with the man upstairs. For those of you guys who don't know, Sean is a priest. So it should be Father Sean. I'm sorry. I like Powers. I don't have a problem. I'm the only Scotsman you'll ever meet who prefers Irish whiskey. I like Bushmill is my main one I like. Tullamore Dew, I like a lot. Okay. Daniel says, I left a comment on your Belmont Stakes rundown. You better hope tempo doesn't improve. I caramba. Caramba looks like a good mare. Apparently so. You were prophetic. Good for you. I hope you bet it because, yeah, he definitely did improve for sure. You were right. I thought it just, I didn't have enough signs that he was going to take a move forward. I just, because of the way he runs, that was really the thing that I couldn't do. Tyler asked, do you think Renegade got a bad trip? No. Nope. I think he saved ground, stayed in traffic. When they made time to make the move, he made his move. Wasn't good enough. That was it. Jose Ortiz afterwards, they asked him about the trip, and he said, all I did was follow Renegade. That's what I did in the dirt. He's like, I followed him, and he set the path for me. Tempo's long strides eat up ground faster than the rest. Yeah, agreed. Like I said, he's bred for that race. He was bred for it. He's bred for the Derby. In retrospect, if you look back, and I know a lot of people are, but what did we miss? Might have missed that. It's just the fact that he was truly bred for a mile and a quarter, and a couple of the others, not quite. Not quite. You're telling me. You're telling me. Hey, the Jaipur, I had AG Bullet. He was my primary choice. He was looking awful good in the stretch. And then Reef Runner did something that horses just don't do too often. He came back from Dubai in really good form. It doesn't happen that often. Pleasantly Perfect is like the only one I really remember. He came back from winning the Dubai World Cup, and his next race he came right back and won. Yeah, I was betting against Reef Runner big time. I just didn't like that horse. I didn't coming back from Dubai, and I was proved wrong. And it was a tough one because AG Bullet wasn't even on the front end in that race. And once the pace fractions were a little on the quick side, then I was a little skeptical because the way AG Bullet wins is when he can get on the front end and set decent fractions, not really fast, and can control things, he wins. And that's what I thought he was going to do. I forget who the horse was, but who went to the lead, and he was pretty quick. And I was like, at that point, but when AG Bullet took the lead, he was looking good in the stretch, got beat. Hey, it happens. Okay, let's see. Okay, I want to make sure I get everybody, guys. Just be patient. As I mentioned, I don't use a mouse, and so it's kind of a pain in the ass. Pardon my English, but let's see. Let's see. Oh boy, a whole lot of them. I'm sorry, guys. Let's see. Father Sean says, didn't like one stripe on top, but he had a nice late kick for underneath place. Yeah, that's why I used him. I wasn't going to at first, but in retrospect, that wasn't audible. I called. I looked back and I said, yeah, I got to throw him in there. And he's a nice horse. He's a nice horse. Plus, his jockey came in from South Africa again. So I was like, I'm damned if I'm going to leave him off this time. I came so close to the butt. Oh, let me tell you, Daniel, if I was kicking myself about one race, I remember looking at that race and I thought Butter was sneaky good there. I really did, and I just couldn't quite get there. But I kept looking at that horse because something tells me this horse is going to take a move forward. A lot of the others were vulnerable, and that's when you get odds. That's when you get a long shot like Butter. But he ran a nice race. Bet the Place Horse Village person loved the name Butter. Yeah, a lot of people did. I had a friend of mine in college named Butter. We used to call him Butter. I always think of that when I saw him. Let's see. That's so true. Renegade only had 2 works before. It it may have had something to do with it. Um, it may have had something to do with it. That's about as far as I can go. Oh, and I should mention right now we're on X2 tonight. So any of those of you who are listening via X, welcome aboard. Good to have you. And if you want to see me in person, why you would, I don't know, but you can come on YouTube, and then we can hear your questions if you have any. Um, it's entirely possible. There could be a very plausible explanation for Renegade. Um, it's hard when the trainers always have something, but I just want to say, hey, he got beat. He ran a good race. I don't think he really had any excuses. I truly didn't. But okay, and Father Sean, you used further ado. I did too. I didn't play the exotics, or the horizontals, but I had them. Yeah. I mean, I didn't like him for the Derby. I want to qualify that. If he runs at Keeneland in the fall, I'll bet him with both hands, without a doubt. He won today very professionally. He wasn't troubled at all. He wasn't worried about it. It was not the greatest of fields. And I say that because, again, Potente was at the rear. He made one run, but he wasn't going to factor. And Pavlovian backed right up. So those 2 Derby horses I didn't think were for real anyway. I did like Taptastic, the Asmussen horse. And I thought he ran well. The 4 ran a little better. But, yeah, I used him. He ran a great race. He was excellent. And he's put some muscle on. Like I said, Caitlin Free was all over him. Caitlin Benson now. He's put on muscle. He's looking good. He's training well. I went with him. I was right. So, good for you. Lost the neck to test score. Yeah, I know, Teresa. I had them both. I got the exact and the try, and it saved my day. And a win bet on deterministic. Yes, my son, don't drink or smoke anymore due to health reasons. Living vicariously through you. Horses and coffee is all I got left. I hope you don't mind, Sean. I used to be an actor. So when I can use my Irish, I do. Don't mean to offend, but yeah. Well, I'm glad I could do something for you aside from horse racing and let you know somebody's enjoying cigars and whiskey. Yeah, he did beat Rhetorical. I was against Rhetorical, Teresa. I didn't think he was going to run back today again, but I tell you what, he ran a hell of a good race. And we have, let's see, Deborah. Hi, Deborah. I haven't seen you before. Congrats. Cherie, Jose, Crew, Golden Tempo is a beast. Very good horse. Underrated Curlin. I agree. Oh, Curlin's not an underrated sire. He's pretty good. But yes, Deborah, welcome aboard. Good to have you. I haven't seen you before. Let's see. Daniel, Friday frustrations. Believe it or not, on Friday I had 5 straight winners. Good for you. But hardly made any money. Lost every exacta. Should have bet doubles. Hey, it happens. It happens. A lot of that this weekend. A lot of people, a lot of prominent handicappers are licking their wounds. A lot of them. Guys, I have reached out to a couple of them and said, listen, man, it happens. I don't think I had an okay day yesterday. I had an okay day. Like I say, deterministic in the Manhattan saved my bacon. Otherwise, wouldn't have been a great day. Turn the page. That's all we can do. It's horse racing, right? That's why I say, you can't get too depressed after, especially this year in these Triple Crown races. I mean, this was a year that fooled a lot of people, yours truly included. It was just a tough year to call. It's a weird crop of 3-year-olds. I don't know how good it is. I'm thinking it's probably on the average to mediocre side right now, save for the sprinters. But it happens. We'll all fight. We'll all live another day. Live to fight another day. Let's see. I think Cherie could have won the Triple Crown. I don't know. That Preakness was tough. I still could see Golden Temple running in that race and Napoleon Solo winning it. The way the track was playing would have been a tough one. But hey, he got 2 out of 3. There's nothing to sneeze at. Okay. Daniel King, I know he had NISOs, but big picture, don't you think Bob Baffert is off his game and might never be the same since the scandal a few years ago? In other words, what's wrong with Baffert? Nothing's wrong with Baffert. Nothing's wrong. He just won with Explorer today. He had, I believe he had 3 stakes wins this weekend. Listen, here's the deal on Bob Baffert. Yes, Brock, you're correct. Sorry, you are exactly right. And welcome aboard. I haven't seen you before. Here's the deal on Bob Baffert. He is a Hall of Fame trainer for a reason. He knows what to do with a good horse, but you've got to remember something. Todd Pletcher went 0 for 22, as our boys have told us, this weekend. Has he lost it? No. Barns go through cycles. When a barn is hot, horses can win who never would have won a particular race before. It's just a phenomenon when trainers get all their horses lined up right. I've harkened back to Saratoga. I guess it was probably about like 2019, pre-COVID, like 2018 maybe. Bill Mott won every single maiden race, seemingly, with first-time starters. Unheard of for him. He was winning everything. Why? His barn was hot. He had a hot barn. When Brendan Walsh's barn is hot, it stays hot for a while. Grant Forster won a stakes race today, I believe. And he had Adam Beskiza, the Biscuit, aboard, who was 0 for 45 for the meet, and he won. Grant Forster's barn was red hot. So what I'm saying is when Bob Baffert has the stock, when he's got horses that are for real, he knows what to do with them. His 3-year-old sucked this year. Crude Velocity, he said, was his best 3-year-old. Why? Because he won the Pat Day Mile. None of the others won anything. Crude Velocity showed you. He even said, he goes, I'll never run against Englishmen again. He's going to point Crude Velocity to the Haskell. Good luck there. I'll bet against him all day. He knows what he's doing as a trainer. Is there suspicion that on occasion he goes to the medicine cabinet? Yes. Is it true? I don't know. I will tell you this. When Authentic won the Derby, I highly questioned it. Highly questioned it. I was my family, I was watching the Derby with them after that race. I was fit to be tied. I was so pissed off. And then when Medina Spirit won it, listen, you want to hear about frustration? We've all had it, right? Okay. I had Mandaloon, and I had the 5 horses under him. I would have hit the pick, the superfecta, and the pick 5 without Medina Spirit in the race. I didn't think Medina Spirit was any good because he didn't do much at Santa Anita. Baffert got the most out of him. He also had a lot of horses, and he could control those races, so he sort of hid Medina Spirit a little bit. Do I have questions about him? Yeah, I do. I do know after Medina Spirit, what makes me question things is the fact that he scratches his horses a lot. Remember Arabian Night? Arabian Night won in the Southwest Stakes, and he said, you're not going to see him again for a while. He didn't keep him on the Derby Trail. Why not? He won the Southwest Stakes by open lengths in the mud. Didn't see him again until the Pacific Classic, and he didn't do it. He's scratched a lot. He's been scratching a lot of horses lately, and I do wonder about that. If maybe he's a little gun shy about Heisa, so he scratches him before he can get caught. I don't know. I don't know. But I'll tell you this: don't ever underestimate him. He'll come right back. When he has the horse, he knows what to do with him. And I don't think he's doing anything with Nysos. I just think that's a really nice horse. And Explorer was today. I thought a little vulnerable if the pace is really hot, but it was decent enough, and she ran a really nice race. Don't over underestimate him. I know it's really popular to kick him after the suspension, and the fact that he's going to be in Kentucky now, maybe that's not by accident. Not just because California is a little troubled, but because he wants to kind of get in with them, get accepted a little more, so maybe they don't watch. I don't know. It's a great question. I mean, but what's wrong with the guy? He's still a great trainer. Is he subject to question? So is Bobby Frankel. Bobby Frankel was a great trainer. You know, to me, it's kind of a fool's errand to be skeptical about it. I'll let Heisa handle it. I just bet on the horses. And you can tell. He had Patente today in the Matt win. I didn't bet him. And you know why? I looked at the work tab and it said it's pure maintenance, and he got killed in the Derby. They eased him, but he wasn't that good a horse. I never thought he was. I didn't think any of the Bafferts were any good. So there it is, for what it's worth. Let's see. Shelley. And I'm going to catch up, guys. I'm sorry. I know I waxed a little while there, but I know it will never happen. But I wish that Irad and Jose weren't allowed to run in the same race. Irad didn't ride Cox horses well, literally didn't shake the reins on Saudi Crown. Okay. No, Shelley, I'm going to respectfully disagree with you strongly. There's none of that going on. I know with this whole cockfighting thing, people have questions about it. And today in the last race at Churchill Downs, I had the Ortiz brothers in an exacta. And Jose was up the track, and Irad won. Are they doing any type of chicanery? No. I highly doubt it. Highly doubt it. Horse racing is rife with conspiracy theories, and they're their own worst enemy for that. And I've said it before, I'll say it again. At the smaller tracks, like I don't want to name one in particular, but the really small ones, does fixing go on? Yeah, it does. At the bigger tracks, the purse money there's too much purse money. There's too many people watching. And it just doesn't happen. There's too much at stake. Does it maybe occasionally happen? It might. I don't know. But what I'm saying is there's no conspiracy. They're not conspiring together. I really don't believe that's happening. I promise. I think to start thinking that way gets away from your handicapping and trying to win these races when you think it's all been prearranged or whatnot. It hasn't. None of these big stages. I'm telling you, I would really encourage you to just concentrate on the form, past performances, and just handicapping the races. You'll drive yourself crazy. You really will, and I hope that makes sense. Shelley, again, maybe Johnny V is out of the Rapoli will. He didn't ride the Pletcher horses in his typical style. Feels like there's some pop. No. Renegade or Johnny V is a great jockey. Johnny V can ride any way he needs to win a race. He's better with front-running younger horses. That's where he's really good, but he's really hard. I'm telling you. I'm looking at. Okay. Okay, so I apologize. I was just looking at trying to catch up. Um, no, Johnny Michael Poley would be happy to have Johnny V anytime he needs him, but he's got IRAD. That's the difference. Let's see. Stephen Malaro. Hi, Stephen. I haven't you. I don't think you've been in the chat before. I know you're one of my subscribers, so good to see you. The handicappers, even my brother, didn't like Golden Tempo. I'm glad I don't listen to everybody. I hit him in the Derby also. He is a monster closing into a slow pace. You absolutely right, Stephen. Absolutely right. Good for you. It was a good call on your part. Hey, this game's about opinions, right? What do I always say? You have an opinion, go with it. We're not, I mean, you can have 9 guys on YouTube all say the same thing. And if you don't agree with them, you bet the way you want. And sometimes you're right. That's the way it is. Good for you. Did you see the run out after the race with further ado? You can bet that horse in Golden Tempo all summer. Maybe. Maybe. Always on the thing about the Triple Crown season is you've got to remember these horses, a lot of them fill out. They grow, they get bigger. That's always a big thing later in the year. It's almost like you have to throw the past performances out because a lot of them mature. Remember, gun runners, right? Gun runners are always better as they get older. Things like that. So, yeah, further ado looked pretty damn good today. At a mile and an eighth, mile and 16th, sure. But I don't think much longer than that. I don't think you're going to see him in the Breeders' Cup Classic. I would doubt it. Okay, let's see. Renegade's a good horse, but not a classic distance horse. He can make the distance, but not as fast as some. I don't know if I'd say that just after one race. He did pretty damn well with it in the Kentucky Derby. Got beat by a better horse. Got beat by a better horse in the Belmont. I thought he ran his race. He may have had some training interruption. He may have had some foot issues. What I would say more, Daniel, is the case against Renegade I would make is that he's plateaued. That he's moving like this, and all of a sudden he's plateaued. It happens. Golden Tempo has not. He's going up. Teresa says, Alex, I've surprised Journal. I wasn't. Be very, very honest with you. Now, journalism, I love as a horse. I really like him. A lot of people are getting off him. Just give me a second. And I understand why. He doesn't beat the best. He can't beat Sovereignty. So, you're thinking they cut him back to a mile. Maybe he could take advantage of his stamina. But the thing was, Saratoga, especially around one turn, is tough for closers. That was the first problem. The second problem is that horse wants 2 turns. It's better for his running style. I think they were trying to I think they were thinking his stamina might win the day, and maybe try to find something else for him to do to get away from horses that he's having trouble beating. But I don't think the race set up well for him at all. 2 turns, I wouldn't give up on him. But, he seems to have some limitations. That's what can you say? Oh, another newcomer, William Worth. Hi, William. Welcome aboard. I haven't seen you before. Good to see you. Golden Tempo is better than Renegade. Commandment is maxed at a mile and a quarter, ran wide. Better plan, except ground loss. Emerging, bad start. Ran the Commandment Derby. Chased back in, not too fast, went wide. Golden Tempo is better than Renegade right now. Yes. Commandment, I'm still not so sure a mile and a quarter is his best distance. He can get it. Clearly, yesterday he was unencumbered. He had a better trip than he did in the Derby, but he still, hey, Golden Temple looked him in the eye and said sayonara. So nice horse, though. He is a nice horse. I just don't. I like him more like a mile and an eighth. Emerging market. I just think it's 4 start. It was only his 4th start. You're asking him to run a mile and a quarter again. I don't think he had any excuses. I don't think there was a start was the problem. I don't think he had one excuse whatsoever. He was in prime position, and he didn't have it. Growth Equity was in great position too. He took the lead, not enough horse. And we did wonder about that. We did say that on the dam side, he was a little more sprint oriented, but his pace fractions from the Peter Pan told you maybe he could outrun his pedigree. Don't think so. He had every chance to win that race and didn't. I wouldn't give up on Emerging Market at all. He's a looker. Boy, he's a nice looking horse. And I think if they can give him some time, maybe put him back in an optional claimer or something to give him a confidence builder and then start building him up again. If they run him at 4, he could be extremely dangerous, like in the Pegasus. But he needs a little time, I think. Let's see. If you could imitate my Philly accent, I'd be impressed. Well, I listen to Matthew DeSantis enough, and he's got one. I know you have to talk. You have to have very long oohs, and that's a very unique one. I haven't had a lot of exposure to it, but yeah, you'd be impressed if I could do it. Not tonight, anyway. I'll work on it. Okay, Pick the Ponies is back. Pick the Pros. Good to see you. Let's see. I want to make sure I get this. I wrote your name down, so don't tell me. I want to make sure I got it. Let's see. Bob, right? Journalism is not about, yes, I agree. My wound is stingy. I dropped 3,400 on Renegade. Oh, that hurts, Robert. Alex, what was the most you put on a single? Mine was 5K, and I won. Well, I'm glad you won in the past. I don't bet that kind of money. I work for a living. Maybe 500 is the most I've ever put on the nose on a horse. That's a lot. I mean, I feel for you. That's a bad beat. That's a tough one. But I don't. My thing is more the academic approach, just part of handicapping, the mental exercise of it. But I bet, believe me, I do. But I don't. That's a lot more than I would ever bet on any one individual horse. I don't have the bankroll for that. Let's see. Daniel. I had 3 out of 5 2-day turf red. Me too. Together, we would have had all 5, I believe. Also, you had Butter, and I had Village Person, $375 exact. I did not have Butter. I liked him a lot, and I was kicking myself. I didn't bet him. I kept looking at that horse, and you know how you get that when you look at the past performances and you go, there's something about this one, and I can't pinpoint it. He was a horse who was on my radar, and I overlooked him. I wish I hadn't. But yeah, the turf pick 5 I was close. Test Score was not a horse I liked on paper and tossed. I woke up Saturday and Test Score was the first thing I thought of. Weird. Not at all, Laura. Not at all. Happens all the time. But I looked again at his PPs and decided to put him in for good for you. Um, he was too loud. He was too bad in the last race to be believed. I just was like, when you see that, you just draw a line through it. He had much better form than that, and I just had a feeling he was going to rebound, and he did. And thankfully for me, like I say, he saved that. He getting underneath with one stripe. Those two saved the day for me. Made for some nice exotic bets, for sure. It was a gift from above. I ignored. I ignored. What does Father Sean think, and does he ever pray for a winner? You guys can take that offline and talk about it all, as you wish. Oh, hi, Paula. Good to see you. Wondering what an Irish Philly accent sounds like. You got me. I don't even know. I don't think Sean has it broke. I think he was American born. But, I had an Irish friend I worked with many moons ago. His parents still had it broke, if you can believe it, all these years later. And yeah, I don't know what that one would sound like. I think one would probably dominate the other. Would be the Irish would probably dominate it. Would be my guess. And look who's here, Mr. Derby Superfecta, the monk, Scott Calabrese. Hey, Scott, going to see you this week for lunch. He's up in town. He's up in my neck of the woods. I live in Rhode Island, if you didn't know, and we're going to get together this week. Let's see. Sean, hold on. Let me get a cup of coffee and a glass of water, and I'll give that accent a try. That's right. Scott's from the Philly area. I forgot all about that. The things we talk about here. Baffert got a DQ for the Kentucky Derby. Yes, he did. That's right. That's right, Rob. And it cost me a lot of money. It cost me like $100,000. I was just talking about that earlier. I had Mandaloon, and I had 2 through 6. I would have had the super, every exotic you can name, because I had a 26-1 on top without Medina Spirit. So yeah, that one hurt a lot. Let's see. And Uncle Sully says, with an Irish Philly accent, prefer Pats or Geno's? For those of you who don't know, Philly obviously is known for cheesesteaks, and there's a couple of places, Pat's or Geno's, but you also forgot Jim's is the one I heard is the one you go to. Those are the big places for Philly cheesesteaks. So, let's see. There is no suspicion. Rob, clarify that for me a little bit. Are you just talking about? Oh, I see. I know it's about Baffert. Yeah, there was no suspicion on that one. I agree. Okay, Brock. Baffert's run of great speed horses at the classic distances abruptly ended after the suspension. Interesting to me. Yeah, okay. Somewhat. The thing is with Baffert's, right? Why does he put him on the lead? Keeps him out of trouble. Young horses, he keep out of trouble. Stephen Foster preview day. I didn't expect Cornucopian to be up amongst the leaders. He had been taking him back. Reverted to his old running style. Boom, there he was, right? Baffert has won with horses who aren't on the engine. Silver Charm, real quiet. War Emblem won on the front end. American Pharaoh didn't. Justified did. He's a great trainer. He doesn't have closers terribly often, but there's a lot of conjecture about that. But the fact of the matter is, when he's got the right horse, He knows what to do with them. That's all I'll say about that. I share the suspicion. I do wonder about it on occasion, but I think you drive yourself nuts if you think, if you think that's all it is. Okay, let's see. Daniel, I'm a chippy gambler. I only bet Triple Crown and Breeders' Cup races. See you all in October. Okay, no problem. Andrew Carpenter, our statistician, our great subscriber, he only bets stakes races, and I believe he only bets the 3-year-old races. C'est la vie. I mean, I usually do really well in the Breeders' Cup because I've had a whole year to watch these horses, and by then you know what you got. I love the Breeders' Cup. Needless to say, I love it. Oh, and I'll just say it right now. Incidentally, we got Royal Ascot coming up, not this week, but next, and that's a lot of fun. And something different for those of you who can watch horse racing during the day. It's a lot of fun. Let's see. Robert says, I like to see Nisos meet Magnitude someday, even though Nisos is race more. I don't know that will ever happen. My guess would be it probably won't. I think they're going to keep Nisos at a mile and an eighth tops. Why mess up a good thing? And also, as many of you have said, Baffert's not rolling the greatest. So to keep those nice checks coming in, you keep the horses at distances they can win. But at a mile and a quarter, it would be a pretty good tussle with those two. Nisos Magnitude, tough choice. Maybe they get in a speed duel and tempo takes them down. Yeah, you never know. I don't think we're going to see it. I would be surprised if we did. All right. Daniel King, how much stock do you put in the gallop out? Chief Wallaby had a fine gallop out in the Kentucky Derby, and look at yesterday. Some people, here's what I'll say about that. Some people put way too much emphasis on one aspect of handicapping. Buyer speed figures, pedigree, workout tab, race replays, gallop outs. They all matter. I'll give you a great example, Daniel, of what you're talking about. After the Kentucky Derby in, I think it was 2007, maybe, Tiago was a horse for John Shareffs, rest in peace. And he had shown something in California, and he had a great gallop out in the Derby. Blew by everybody. And of course, when he did that, everybody was all over him for the Belmont. Everybody. Not me, but a lot of people were. And I can't remember if he finished in the money or not, but he did kind of the same as Chief Wallaby. Gallop outs are important. I got Angel of Empire in 2023 in the Smarty Jones because he blew by Victory Formation. Couldn't deny it. He ran second all the way around the track, and he did so with such enthusiasm. And then when he blew by Victory Formation, I was like, "Now that's a horse." And I got him in the Risen Star 14-1, and I got him again in the Arkansas Derby. And he was my Derby horse, and he finished second. But it all started because I saw a really good gallop out. It does matter. But you have to put it in context with everything else. I always say that. It's like you can't overemphasize one thing or another. That's all I would say about that, Daniel. And I think Chief Wallaby's got a lot of work to do. And I think Bill Mott said maybe a mile and a quarter is a little too much for him. Might be right. Hard to ignore a Hall of Famer. Getting bigger. The word on commandment before the Belmont was he was thriving, putting on weight, getting strong. Well, there you go. It happens. Look at Further Ado today. That's what they said about him. He's putting on muscle, growing. It happens. So maybe you may be right, Daniel. And you know what? At the end of the year, Commandment might be better than all of them. We'll see. We'll see what he does in the Haskell or the Travers, whichever one they put him in. But a lot of things can happen. You're absolutely right. And let's see. Get this right. Paula. Let's see. Will you be handicapping the 6 furlong Bashford Manor Stakes at Churchill Downs on the 20th? Well, first of all, I would say I'm not sure it's 6 furlongs, the Bashford Manor. Uh, I seem to remember that because it's an early race for 2-year-olds, that it's 5 or maybe 5.5. I may be wrong. If I am, I'm sorry. Uh, I don't like those races, to be quite honest with you. Those 4.5 furlong 2-year-old races, Wesley Ward makes his whole career on those. He wins a ton of them, and those horses never do anything after that. I can't remember the last one who won the Bashford Manor who turned into a Derby horse. It's those races are for precocious 2-year-olds who show a lot. They're an easy win if a horse has got a little bit of talent. And I don't think they tell very much, to be quite honest, Paul. Now, if you've got an angle, or if you've got a horse that you're sitting on for that one, by all means, go for it. It's just I don't look forward to those races. It's the same thing with the Saratoga Special, or the first one they run for at Saratoga for the 2-year-olds. Those races they don't tell a whole lot. It's a nice payday, and for breeding purposes, hey, won the Saratoga Special, won the hopeful, But when they get around 2 turns, that's when I want to be paying attention to them. Let's see. I think they may have put journalism in that race to sharpen him up. I think a good bet when he stretches back up. Could be. Very, very possible, Daniel. I wouldn't. That's a very valid angle, to be sure. Joe Urbo. Hi, Joe. Cheating is now called winning at Saratoga Racecourse. Jose and Golden Tempo should have been taken down and placed last. I do not agree with that at all, Joe. Not at all. Not at all. Again, rose-colored glasses. When we're rooting for horses, we see things that aren't there. That he ran fine. He drifted in a little bit, but not enough to compromise anybody else. I'm sorry, respectfully, I don't agree. Okay. Jose Ortiz and Golden Tempo impeded the path of Commandment. I knew. You bet on Commandment, didn't you, Joe? Many times the track stewards said should be fired. Nope. Talked about it. Nope. The head-on view, without question, shows that Jose and Golden Tempo impeded the path of Commandment and stopped him from winning the Belmont Stakes. Golden Tempo blew right by him. I think that's what cost Commandment the Belmont Stakes. Politely, respectfully, I will say that, Joe. I know, I feel for you if you had Commandment. I do. I just don't agree with you. I'm sorry. Teresa, my grandmother used to say it was bad luck to pray to God when you gamble. Old Italian superstitions. I believe them. Could be. I've never done it. I bet all of you have seen the movie Let It Ride. Worked out pretty well for Richard Dreyfuss. I mostly pray horses and jockeys run well. Try not to test the Lord too much. Yeah, I think that's a pretty good idea, George. Let's just, my mother used to say at the Kentucky Derby every year, she would say at the end of it, well, nobody got hurt. Because there's so many things that can go wrong in that race. And, knock on wood, I've never seen a problem like that in the Derby. I hope I never do. Pats and Geno's are for tourists. Jim's is the best. That's right. I got that from plenty of people, Sean. Plenty of people. And Scott agrees. Okay, let's see. I don't even bring my phone into church on race days, just pray during confession. Well, now you heard it from the horse's mouth, haven't you? We kid. Okay, let's see. Bottom line, Jose, good with horses, bad with chickens. Okay. You know, again, an issue. It's not a good look. I grant you, and I'm not in favor of cockfighting. I don't support it. Don't condone it. Um, it's unfortunately engendered a lot of thought that about conspiracy theories that I'm not sure have a lot of weight. But I may be a little naive there, but I just think it's crazy to get into this whole conspiracy thing. I really don't think there's any weight to it. Um, I just don't. I'm sorry. Let's see. Let's see what we got here. Again, technology. My technology sucks. Let's see. Okay, Daniel says, if I could make money at doing this full time, I would. But I have tried and I just don't want to be able to do it. I have great instinct. Hey, Daniel, listen, I'm with you. I had a little dalliance of it. I did it full time for a little while. I didn't do it right by any means. It was very early in my career. Um, it's sometimes the thing about doing it full time is sometimes to me, when you have it, it's on your mind and you're doing it all the time, you lose that creativity. And I don't know how you feel about that, but that's the way I do. It's like sometimes it's like when you concentrate on a weekend, you can see things a little better, if that makes sense. You get, when you do it all the time, you start getting a little complacent about it, I guess is the word. But I know what you mean for sure. Nysos will be in the Breeders' Cup Classic. He has nothing to gain by winning. Fair enough, Rob. And I could definitely see that. But I also know that why put him in a race with Sovereignty, Magnitude, Golden Tempo, horses who want two turns? It's going to be a lot tougher. He's a really good horse. On class, he could probably do it. But I'm just not so sure about that. I have the same problem, Daniel. I cheap out in the wrong spots. Listen, guys, like I've said before, and I don't want to sound like your father or anything, but we all have bad days. What is a very common thing to do, and I did plenty of it when I started, is a race will go off, you lose, and you go, you know what? I knew I should have bet that horse. It happens. Do I do it on occasion? With Butter, that was a horse I had my eye on. I just couldn't quite get there. It happens. You don't beat yourself over the head. You learn from it, right? So if you look and go, why didn't I include that horse? What was it that I excluded him? Why did I do that? That's what you want to be saying to yourself, so you won't do it again. But it happens. Don't feel bad. Don't beat yourself up for making mistakes. Learn from them. That's what it's all about. It's all about excellence, right? Excellence is not perfection. It's learning from your mistakes so you don't make them again. You may make new mistakes, but you just keep trying to learn from them, and that's how you're going to get better at this. But don't kick yourself about making mistakes betting-wise. Just try to learn from them. Tiago was third in the Belmont race. Yeah. But a lot of people had him on top that day, Rob, and I didn't. I did not. All right, what's Scott got to say? Commandment is clearly capable of running a competitive race at 10 furlongs if the early fraction of the race are not quick and he's allowed to settle. Yes, I think the slow pace really helped Commandment. I do. Um, if you go back to that Florida Derby, slow fractions. Ran the same race he did in the Florida Derby, and he won. I think that's spot on. It was weird in that the three horses who went 1, 2, 3 were all late runners again when the fractions were slow. That was what was kind of confounding in some ways, but it also tells you that Golden Tempo really took a step forward. That's what I got from it. There was one bump when Tempo tried to beat Commandment into the spot. Perfect. Yes, Daniel. That's right. Okay. Teresa, I just thought when journalism, speed and cutback distance and facing lesser than he has, he would have done better. Well, it's not a bad instinct, Teresa. I think that's very logical. We most of the opinions we have, they're all based on logic. It's horse racing's like that. There's never one answer. Like I said, there's races for all of us. But the longer you do this and the better you get at it, there are more races for you. That's all it means. The problem with journalism is he was on a track that doesn't favor closers per se. And he was up against, Nysos is a beast. Um, Journalism is just a weird horse to figure out. He was so promising last year at 3. But and I thought in the British Cup Classic, I thought he ran a very good race. I really did. I think it was underrated how good a race he ran. But look at the field he was against. It was just a really tough field for a 3-year-old. Maybe this year, if he fills out some more, grows some more, he might be really dangerous at 4. I just thought it was a weird choice to me, in my opinion. It was a very weird choice going to the Met Mile. Bashford Man. Okay, Rob, thank you. It's not a race I play in. Great movie, Let It Ride. Yeah. Oh, Daniel. Talking about horse racing, I prefer Tim Conway's The Long Shot. That's a good one too. Tim Conway was a big horse racing guy. Dick Van Patten too. Huge horse racing guys. Tim Conway was going to be a jockey, and believe it or not, I guess he grew out of it a little bit. But I'll tell you guys, if you want to talk about horse racing movies, and I've mentioned this on X a time or two, that is not first thought of. The Pope of Greenwich Village. It's done about 40 years ago. Mickey Rourke, Eric Roberts. It's got horse racing as a backstory within it. They robbed this place so they can get some money to get to bet on a horse at Aqueduct. And it's a great movie. Great. It's before Mickey Rourke, pre all the nonsense and all that stuff, when he was a really good actor. Highly recommend it. If you want to see a great movie that is not about horse racing, but it has horse racing in the backdrop, that's my favorite. As well as Let It Ride and Seabiscuit. Let's see. Okay, let's see. Yeah, okay, Scott. Scott says they're targeting the Travers with Commandment. That makes sense. I need to stop playing pick 5, Shelley says. Concentrate on win bets, exactas, and daily doubles. You're right. Way too much emphasis on pick 5s. They're hard. They're not easy to hit. I'm salty. Had 5 of 6 in the pick 6, 4 of 5 in the pick 5 in the Derby, only on a $25 ticket, spread in the Derby and left 2. Hey, bad beat, but that, you know what? Picks 5s and pick 6s. I hear about guys all the time, including some of our subscribers, and I don't begrudge them any at all. They want to play them, but a lot of people spend a lot of money on pick 5s, like $160, $200 on a pick 5. I just can't do it. I just won't do it. I am too proud about it. There are many times I wish I had spread a little more, but I just can't justify it. And I think your better bets are wins and exactas. think you've got a much better shot at having a really good ROI if you play those. That's my opinion. But there are times where there's a pick five that, yeah, Claiming Crown every year. Last year, I played the Claiming Crown at Churchill Downs on a $16, or not last year, 4 years ago. On the $16 ticket, I made 15 grand. Last year, I hit it for 10 with about I forget what I posted it. It's like a 30-something dollar ticket. When there's a pick five with your name on it, yeah, I go for it. But I just won't spend that kind of money. Pick sixes I'll spend. If there's a pick six I want to go for, I might go a couple $100, $200, $300. But to me, if you're a handicapper, you shouldn't have to spend a lot of money to hit those tickets. That's just my opinion. Pick six, you probably do, regardless of how good you are. But that's just the way I feel. Okay, Daniel. Funny. I used to go to the races with my friend Paula. She would ask me what I like and go and bet. Somehow we always made money, but if I'm left in charge of the betting, not so good. I've said it before, there's good handicappers and there's good bettors. I consider myself to be a better handicapper than I'm a bettor. I'm a pretty good bettor, but I could be better at betting. Matt Miller is a guy a lot of you have seen on Triple H podcast. He's got a better way of thinking, I believe it's called Bettor. It's a book about it. I've been dying to get it and read it. There's a science to betting, as you might expect. And it's different than handicapping. It can only improve your general outlook or your ROI if you know how to bet really well. Let's see. Rob says, you will not see any of this year's 3-year-old crop beating older horses this year. Not right now. Wait till the end of the year. Growing, filling out, happens all the time. Happens all the time. There may be some horses out there we haven't even seen that they're waiting to unleash. You don't know. Not just yet. Let's see. Paula, Daniel wants to know where you are. I guess that's where you live. Okay, Shelly, good to see you. Thanks for coming by. Have a good night. Oh, Teresa, you've seen it. Okay. Paul, they took my thumb, Charlie. Great movie. Great movie. Kid, it's on, if you have Prime or you can find it. It's a great movie. I highly recommend if you haven't seen it. They chose the Met Mile for journalism because they were ducking the Stephen Foster. Could have been. Could have been. He just can't beat sovereignty. And you just got to wonder at this point with journalism, he just doesn't beat the best horses. So is he good but not great? I don't know. It's a legitimate question at this point. When you consider his running style, and there's a couple others who are better with that running style, yeah. And now Golden Tempo could be another late runner who's better than he is. You don't know. Silver Charm, good to see you. And it's, don't tell me, I wrote it down, but Silver Charm is a she. Debbie. Hi, Debbie. Good to see you. Agreed. The Pope was a good movie. Okay. Still got some good bowling, some Pope of Greenwich Village fans. That's good. Daniel, what do you think rolling doubles versus exactas? I would prefer exactas. I like to go race by race in my, but I'll tell when it comes to doubles, I don't like betting doubles unless I can single. So if you have a single every other race, yeah. Or if you got a long shot that you could throw in the mix, yeah, rolling doubles are fine. I just like exactas better, in my opinion. I just like going race by race. That's just the way I do it. I don't play a lot of horizontal wagers. I will play them on occasion, but I'm more of a race by race guy. Yeah, Debbie. I mean, betting. There's guys like Mike Somich, who a lot of you have seen on Trust the Profits and VSIN. He's a great bettor. He does it for a living. He's a gambler. Like he knows how to bet. Maybe I'll ask him to come on and we'll talk about how to bet because I'd certainly could use some pointers as well. Daniel or Derby Scott. Okay. While Golden Tempo was in the back, the field was much more compressed than the Derby, with Golden Tempo 5.5 lengths back at 3/4. When handicapping late runners in the Derby, I want them within 8 lengths at 6 furlongs, so he was well placed there. Yeah, you're right. It was a race that I didn't see any excuses. I thought it was an extremely form-fitting race. And you know what? On that note, let's just watch the Belmont because we haven't done it yet. So we're going to watch the Belmont. Okay, guys? So let me get this. Okay. All right. So I'm going to share the screen and we're going to watch the Belmont. I got it all queued and ready to roll. Okay. So here we go. It's all set. And I turned down Frank's call a little bit, but so we'll take it. You guys have watched this before. You know how we do this. We'll take it at different spots in the race and we'll stop it. But here we go. Now, here's the break. Now, you can see emerging market with a slight stumble. You see Golden Temple veered out to the right. I think that's more the horse than anything. I can't really think of any other reason that would happen. But for the most part, I thought everybody broke just fine. I didn't see any jostling, any bumping, anything like that. You see, right? See, I think it's pretty form fitting right here. But right about there, you see Chief Wallaby? He's losing position a little bit, in my opinion, because you see emerging market coming up and growth equity is already there. And for those of you who don't know, I had talked to a friend of mine who knows Junior Alvarado very well, and he asked him, was he going to be forwardly placed? And he said yes. I think this was the opportunity right here to get him more forwardly placed, and it got shut off. You see him there, checking a little bit. He was a little ranked too. Now you see, we'll stop it right here. And, I don't see anybody really having any trouble. Vitruvian Man was kind of the turd in the punch bowl because we thought he would be at the back for a suck up. And instead, he tried to run his race, and he was obviously no match. But we knew Power Shift was going to be in the lead. We were pretty sure Growth Equity and Emerging Market would be right up there. But did you see the chief already, Chief Wallaby, having to come off the rail a little bit because he couldn't get that inside position that he was trying to get. So now look where he's mid-pack, and that's not what they had anticipated would be the case. You see Aquino, he just kind of ran along and no, you just stop it right here before they hit the turn. And the telltale sign for me was kind of like when Commandment was sort of back there with Renegade, you see in the middle there, and Golden Temple along the rail. That maybe he had some horse. It was hard to know what Commandment we were going to see. And I to be quite honest, I was very surprised that Commandment was. Well, maybe I was. I don't know. I just didn't know what to make of Commandment more than anything else after the Derby. I just didn't know what they were going to do with him. And they obviously did the right thing. But you see, 48-1 at the half and the quarter was 23-3, which isn't flying. The pace was extremely reasonable. Now, see, if you stop it right here, there's no excuses for emerging market, Chief Wallaby, Renegade. Uh, they're all in very good position at this point, um, I would say. And it's 112 and almost 112 and 2. So, again, extremely reasonable pace. Now, you look at it's a tight pack, but look at where emerging market is. He's in perfect position. Chief Wallaby, perfect position. Um, you know, and Renegade's got to get to the outside a little bit, but Commandment and Golden Tempo are in very good position to the outside, ready to swing out. Now, if that's considered rubbing, I would consider Commandment to be guiltier than Golden Tempo was. I didn't see any rubbing, and I'm sorry for that. Look, I know you guys. When you have a vested interest in a horse, I understand. I can't see it. I didn't see any impediments to anybody whatsoever. You see, the chief just wasn't good enough. He flattened down, and emerging market just didn't have it. Um, Really, that's what it comes down to more than anything else. He just didn't have it. So that's my take on it. That's the way I saw it. And oh, I'm sorry. I apologize. I'll run it again. Okay, guys. Wait a minute. I'm sorry. Let me get this right. I'm sorry, guys. I apologize. We're gonna run it again. Okay. I told you I'm a total greenhorn with this. So I apologize, guys. We're gonna run it again right here. All right. So here we are at the break, and you do see a little stumble from emerging market. And I know this is going to be redundant. I'm sorry. Um, little redundant, but emerging market a little bit of a stumble. Golden Tempo veers out. Other than that, I thought everybody was fine.
And they're off in the Belmont Stakes at Saratoga, and Power Shift sprints.
And you see Power Shift sprinting like to the lead. Now, this is where I thought the Chief had a really good opportunity to be more forwardly placed here. You see that opening there, and it didn't really happen. Growth Equity was Johnny on the spot. And Renegade's more forwardly placed at this juncture, but it does allow him to hold position in sort of mid to late pack. You see, emerging market was a little slow to get going. Maybe that had something. The stumble had something to do with it, but he was able to right himself and get into decent position.
Growth Equity on the inside. Vitruvian Man is
You see how small Renegade is? I really hadn't noticed that before.
5 lengths off the pace. Emerging Market inches up on the outside of Commandment. Otinho is second.
So right here, as I was mentioning that you guys couldn't see, okay, now you see the Chief is trying to get more forwardly placed. And you see that where Junior's trying to guide him a little bit to the right to get up more into the race. And he can't do it because Growth Equity and now Emerging Market coming up block his path. And that's why he ended up back in mid-pack like he did in the Derby and like he did in the Florida Derby and the Fountain of Youth. It's been a problem. I don't think he was going to win the race if he was more forwardly placed. But so for the most part, everybody's pretty much where we thought they were going to be, except right there, again, a little forward. The Chief, you see what happened because he wasn't able to get his position. He ends up back towards the rear again. And that's just, I think it wasn't the race they anticipated. I don't think it would have made a difference, but you have to take that into account.
Power Ship will set the tempo, leads the way into the clubhouse turn by 3/4 of a
Do you see Growth Equity?
Equity
Right here, Emerging Market is in, they're both no excuse position. Vitruvian Man's kind of the turn in the punch bowl because he took the inside, so the others had to stay wide. But I don't know that it really made that much of a difference. And Emerging Market, he had that little stumble, but look, he was able to rebound just fine. And look where he is. He's in good position.
Clear-cut second. Vitruvian Man is in third, and they are followed by Emerging Market. The opening quarter went in a very moderate 23 and 4/5 seconds. It's another 2 lengths back. Chief Wallaby is kept on the outside of Otinho. Then comes Renegade and Commandment, stride for stride. And Jose Ortiz takes the Kentucky Derby winner, Golden Tempo.
Now you see right here, I'll just stop it so we can take a look and take status on the backstretch. You see Otinho really just pretty much is backing out of the race. The Chief is much farther back than I thought he would be. Vitruvian Man's just sort of there, but he's backing up. And, Growth Equity and Emerging Market are both in pretty good position. Really, no excuse position.
Onto the rail, and he's 12 lengths off the pace. It's Power Shift on the inside, and Growth Equity head and head. The half went in 48 and 1/5 seconds, coming to the half-mile pole in the Belmont Stakes, with Vitruvian Man holding his spot in third. Then it's Emerging Market, fourth and 3.5 off them. Chief Wallaby will go 3 wide outside of him. Now Renegade is.
They see right at this spot. They'll just stop it before they get to the top of the stretch. Everybody's pretty much where they need to be to win this race. Growth Equity obviously is in excellent position, and if he had enough horse, he had a really good shot at winning the race. Emerging Market, no excuses at all. Chief Wallaby, they tipped him out, so he's in position to make his stride. And there's Renegade. He's in the middle, but he's in fine position. Everybody's fine. Everybody's, I don't see any problems at all.
Some headway. He's on the inside. We'll need to find some room, but he's very much in the thick of it as Growth Equity has taken the lead in 1:12 and 1/5 seconds. Growth Equity short lead. Chief Wallaby's making a big move from behind. Golden Tempo.
Now, right here, you can't even see Renegade because, I'm sorry. But you see Growth Equity, if he's got enough horse, he's got this race. And you see Emerging Market, no excuses either. He's right there, and the Chief is poised and ready. So everybody's in good position. And if anybody's a little compromised, it's Renegade because of having to swing out like that, but really not.
Chief Wallaby comes to him. Out in the center of the racetrack, Commandment's running a giant race. Renegade in between and Golden Tempo. Golden Tempo, Renegade, Commandment on the outside. Golden Tempo from last to first has to fend off Commandment in the final strides.
Now, this is to refute the questions about any bumping or whatnot. If you watched from the 16th pole in, there's no rubbing. If anybody was a little guilty of it, it might have been Commandment, but not enough to compromise anybody and not enough for a steward's inquiry whatsoever. this was a very cleanly run race, in my opinion, and everybody ran pretty much, with the exception of maybe Chief Wallaby or Vitruvian Man. Everybody pretty much ran the way we thought they would. Emerging Market just didn't have enough horse, nor did Growth Equity. Chief Wallaby made his move, and he flattened right out. And then it's just a matter of at this juncture, who's the best horse? And we know who it was. Okay, so there it is. Sorry, I'm sorry about the technical problem there, but yeah, Debbie, I feel for you. I mean, Commandment ran a monster race. I did not expect. I did not expect him to. I did not expect him to do that. But I think if watching it again, I hope those of you who think there were rubbing or whatnot, there really wasn't any that to impact the race. I didn't think so, and I hope you see that now that we watched it. I'm just going back to see. Let's see. Okay, so I got it now. Seems okay. Let's see. It seems easier to pick back-to-back winners versus trying to figure out who will finish second. Seems most races there are 3 or 4 horses that can finish second. Yeah, true enough. True enough. That's why you leverage, Daniel, right? I mean, you have your strong opinions, your cold exacta, and then you maybe bet a little less for a couple other horses. Dana, wasn't easy for me either, Bubba. It's not easy for any of us who didn't have it. But, it's important to watch these races and learn how to watch a race if you don't know. Okay, let's see. No, Shelley, I'm sorry. I can't. I feel for you. I know. I get it. I get it. I get it. I get it. But we just watched the race twice. Once you didn't see, but there wasn't enough there. You would have visibly seen a corruption of that race. I just there wasn't enough there. I'm sorry, there just wasn't. And overheads can show maybe coming in a little bit, but it wasn't anything close to what Oselli did in the Derby. That's a rub that does impact the race to a certain degree. That's one I think they could have really looked at, maybe taking Oselli down to like 4th or 5th. Not a big, but I just it's not there. I'm sorry, it just isn't. Respectfully. Daniel, I suspect the Derby fever has gotten to Chad. Seems he rushed his horses this year. Perhaps. It's unlike Chad Brown to run horses on those shortest start. Now, Growth Equity took the traditional Belmont route, which is moving to the Peter Pan. That's the prep for the Belmont. So that wasn't a real surprise. What was a surprise was Emerging Market. And I think after the Derby, I think you could tell it took a lot out of him. He just didn't have it. He's a better horse than that. I wouldn't give up on him for the Travers by any means. Now that he's had a little more time to rest and get it going again, he just didn't have. He had no excuses. I think you'd agree. Watching that again, he had nobody had any excuses per se. I didn't think. You bet Commandment there. I feel for you. Let's see. Looks like most of them are being rushed compared to the old. That's right. That's exactly right, Jeannie. I couldn't agree with you more. And it's a weird thing because if you think about it, the old days, you're right. There was I've talked about this before. You raced to 2, 3-year-old, you started moving around 2 turns. You had 3 preps, and you went to the Derby. Now, you go even farther back, they'd have 10 preps. Citation ran a week before the Kentucky Derby. Okay, to tell you what a different time it was. But there was a very strict progression of how you grew the breed. Nowadays, trainers are a little afraid to run these horses so much because if they're not completely ready, it impacts their stats. You know, the 2-year-old is a growing season. So if they're like, well, he hasn't filled out yet, he may lose a couple of races before he gets good. So they wait till 3 now because Justify wanted it, the Triple Crown at 3. So like, oh, we don't have to race at 2 anymore. And I talked about this. Barbaro won the Derby on 5 weeks rest. Nobody thought you could ever do it. He did. So now they take 5-6 weeks, no problem. Nobody even talks about it anymore. This was a year, Chief Wallaby, Emerging Market, the Puma, Growth Act. I mean, there were a lot of horses who got rushed along. And, you know, trainers have egos too, and they want to be in these big races. And when they look and see some of the other horses are kind of lately raced, they go, why not? We'll throw them in too. It's the nature of the beast these days. I would love them to go back to their traditional format, but it's going to take an awful lot for them to do that. Maybe they up the purses for the 2-year-old races, so more of them race at 2. I don't know. Commandment did not run according to my plan. That was a shocker. Yeah, kind of, Laura. I didn't know what to do with him. I really didn't know what they were going to do with him. I couldn't figure it out. I'll be very honest with you. But my thing was I had questions about the distance prior to the Derby. And then when he didn't run, he had some trouble in the Derby. He did. But he didn't respond to it as well as he had in the past. I was like, maybe he just doesn't want the distance. So I had a lot of trouble with Commandment this year. He's a good horse, though. He proved it. Let's see what Tyler says. I thought Renegade really had a gap there. And if he hit the gas, the race was his right when they came into the stretch. Yeah. You could look at Emerging Market, Chief Wallaby, Renegade. They all had a shot. They all were in great position, and not one of them finished. Renegade, it may have been the interruption in training. Might have been a foot issue. Might have been. But the fact of the matter is he looked flat. And he still ran 3rd. But he may have plateaued. And Chief Wallaby, Commandment, they're moving forward. It could very well be that. It happens every year. It happens all the time. That's why it's such a puzzle, these prep races and the Triple Crown. Let's see. Teresa, Huselli should have come down. I would have had the super. Now, Teresa, is that the Italian in you talking? I don't know how well Huselli would have done. He was, after the Preakness, I think he's on a downward trend. I did. I think they're going to run him in the Ohio Derby. I think that's probably a much better spot for him. Tyler, Alex, total side note. Do you have any early thoughts on the Stephen Foster? You know me. I love Baeza. I love that horse. He was my favorite 3-year-old last year. Love Baeza. I still think he can beat Sovereignty. I think it was the Jim Dandy last year. He gave it his bollocks, and he still couldn't get by Sovereignty. But, you know, I was there, Pennsylvania Derby, when he won it. He looked like a champ. I love that horse. I don't know that they're going to – I haven't heard. It seems be a surprise to me if Belmont put Sovereignty and Baeza in the same race this early in the year. But if they do, I think it's a hell of a showdown. I love Baeza. I love him. He, to me, has a ton of potential. And he's still, you know, he's got that Mage Dornoch pedigree. So he's out of Puka. So, let's see. Think, let's see, Teresa. I think you're right, Teresa. I do. I think Golden Tempo, without a doubt, and Tino had very good pedigree too. Golden Tempo had the quintessential Triple Crown pedigree, without a doubt. The others, not so much. There were holes in quite a few of them. I still had reservations about the Puma if he comes back next year. I believe he's out for the year, but if he comes back next year, we'll see. But let's see. Commandment low on the Tomlinson number for distance. Teresa, Tomlinson's I don't use a whole lot. The only thing I know about Tomlinson's is if they have an over 400 for off tracks, they're probably going to like it. Meaning they have a very good chance of thriving on an off track. And like I said before, a lot of times the mud doesn't impact the race unless you have a horse who not just likes it, thrives on it. Sometimes you know that in advance, sometimes not. When might we see Pat? I don't know. I haven't heard anything. Love to see him in the Travers. But I will caution everybody on one thing. Just remember this. He may not progress from what he did at 2 or early on his 3-year-old year. You always got to remember that. So it's like not a lot, I want to know a lot about what's going on with him, and especially if he's filled out. That's what I want to know. But yeah, it'll be nice to see him. Hopefully it'll be at the Travers. I hope. Oh, Debbie, I just got this. For those of you who can't see, this is my hard spun hat. I had one before and I wore it out, and so I bought another. Hard spun is my favorite horse of all time. When we handicap races, what do we look for? We look for honest horses, right? Hard spun was about as honest as you get. He brought it every time. He was probably outclassed in the Triple Crown, and he still factored. Damn near won the Derby. He was a great horse. My regret only is we never saw him on turf, and we never saw him in the Breeders' Cup Turf Mile because I think he would have won it. He had a lot of strong turf influence, but yeah, he's my favorite horse. Love him. Let's see. No way. Alex will do a bet. I don't think Baeza beats Sovereignty. I don't think I'm going to bet that. I'm going to root for it, but I'm not going to bet it. I was born at night, but not last night, guys. I love Baeza. I'll hope he has a chance to beat Sovereignty, but he hasn't been able to do it so far. We'll see. Yeah, I'm going to root for it, Tyler. I just Tomlinson's from Mutters. That's right, Sean. Tyler would take him. Oh, okay. Here's an interesting question. Daniel King wants to know, how about Ted Noffey? I was never enamored with Ted Noffey like other people were. And it's probably to my detriment. When I look at 2-year-olds, sometimes I have to catch myself all the time because I start handicapping like they're running in the Derby, if that makes any sense. Ted Noffey is a really nice horse, but he's a one-turn horse. Nobody's going to convince me otherwise. Yes, I know he won the Breeders' Cup Juvenile. Who'd he beat? Nothing. When horses are that talented, they can win on class. They can outrun their pedigree. I don't think he's a 2-turn horse. I just don't see it. I think he's a good bet to run in the Jerkins. I think that'd be a good spot for him. Maybe the Breeders' Cup Mile. I don't know. He's got to have some seasoning. He's got to run. He's got to prove it to me against older horses, and that's the rub. The big test is later in the year for 3-year-olds when they got to run against older. Everybody thinks, oh, they're going to run like they normally do. Well, when you step up to older horses, that's a big step up. I had Faithful Departed in that turf race. You know why? In the 3-year-old turf race a couple weeks back. One simple reason. He beat older horses at 3. That's big, especially early in your career. That's a huge thing. So remember that when you have 3-year-olds running against older. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I know. Oh, guys, hey, Sovereignty, I'm a fan. I'm a fan, but I love Baeza. You never know. Time tells sometimes. Yeah. I love Burnham Square. He's my second favorite 3-year-old last year. I love that horse. I had him in the Holy Bull. I had him in the Bluegrass. And I thought he ran a deceptively very good Derby to finish 6th. I thought he ran terrific. And now look what he's doing on turf. Now, there are some people who are like, maybe, he's good, but we don't really know yet. He looks pretty damn good to me. And I love that horse. And it's nice to see Ian Wilkes have a big horse. He's a good hard boot Kentucky trainer. Let's see. Tomlinson good with turf numbers and distance regular dirt. Not 100%, but it helps in certain situations. Yeah, sure. I'll be quite candidly, because I don't use the daily racing form. I use Brisnet. It's not really a number I pay that much attention to. I'm more interested in their record on off tracks and their pedigree for turf if they haven't run on it before. That's more my gauge. But if it works for you, please, by all means, you don't let me dissuade you. Use it. Let's see. If Renegade has been a bit disappointment, what? I don't like Ted Noffey, Sean. Like I said, I really don't. Well, that's a bad choice of words. He's a nice horse. I think he has limitations. We'll see how he filled out, but I think he's more of a one-turn horse, in my opinion. I would bet against the house against him in the Haskell if he runs in it, or the Travers. Bet against him all day. Let's see. Oh, yes, Mr. Bafford. Right, Bill? I changed my entire pick 5 after seeing the pace and singled Englishman. Would have hit it if AG Bolt won. A lot of people say that. I was one of them. Reef Runner dealt me a nice shitburger because I was looking pretty good. Englishman was. That was without a doubt the performance of the day. No doubt about it. Kind of answered your question. Good. Okay. Burnham Square got better when they moved the turf from Poly. Teresa, he was pretty good on dirt. He's a pretty damn good horse. But you're right. So, Alex, how would you recap on the Triple Crown Series this year? Any takeaways that you've got? Well, I would say this. We were dealt a tough hand in some ways because of all these precocious horses, or these horses getting hastily put into these races. We were forced to consider horses that normally I would have been like, hey, he's only got 2 starts, 3 starts, and throw them out. We didn't have a choice this year. We had to consider them. And they demonstrated why you need foundation before you run in the Derby, is that they're still green. Emerging Market probably would have been a good Belmont candidate, but he only had 3 starts, and one of them was the Kentucky Derby. Chief Wallaby, if he had had time to be seasoned, and I'll guarantee you, if you ask Bill Mott, he'd say, yeah, I wish I had more time with this horse. He may be a lot better at the end of the year. But right now, he's just very green, and he hasn't figured it out yet. He's very much like Tacitus, if you remember him from a couple years back. I'm not sure he knows what he's supposed to be doing out there. I can't. His maiden race was so athletic and so awesome. I became an instant fan of this horse, and he just never came back to it. He needs more time. So we had that to deal with. So what ended up winning the day? Look who won 2 out of the 3. A horse with Derby pedigree. That's really what made the difference. Golden Tempo was rushed into these races. He only had 4 starts before the Derby. The difference was pedigree. The difference was also a horse improving, progressing, getting better. It wasn't overly apparent from those races. And I know what to look for. And I talk about it all the time. And it wasn't overly apparent with Golden Tempo. As far as just an overall crop, it's hard to evaluate because they're all so pretty green. It's a weird year. You just don't see horses coming in, running in Triple Crown races without at least like maybe 5 starts. They've all got how many of them had 2 or 3? Pavlovian had 10. He was the leader, and he just proved today he's not very good. But weird year. Alex, in your wagering strategies, you refer to a bet. Can't remember the name of it, but it's a multiple and you can leverage it. I think it's only available in the States. Do you know what I speak of? Well, you can leverage every bet. You can leverage every bet. Leveraging, all that means, it's also called Dutching. And what the concept is basically, you want to have your key horse, but you may be not sure about the horses underneath them for the exacta, the trifecta. So what you do is you leverage. So you bet, like $6 exacta on your prime horse, and then one of the ones you like. Then you bet a $4 race, $4 exacta on your prime horse, and another one you like, $2, and so on. That type of thing. You can always, if you use DRF Ticket Maker when you do your horizontal wagers, pick 3s, pick 4s, pick 5s, you can leverage. Because what I normally show you guys is the caveman ticket, and that's just because it's easier. But if you use Ticketman, you can leverage, so your ROI will be greater if all your prime selections hit. That's what I'm referring to when I say about leverage. You can do it with any bet you want. And it's using multiple horses at different levels of interest. That's basically what it means. Let's see. Okay. Let me catch up a little bit here. Okay. Debbie says, if Golden Tempo hadn't drifted greenly down to the rail in Louisiana Derby, he would have been way lower. It's possible. It's possible. It was his running style, being that far back. Keep in mind in the Belmont, he wasn't he wasn't closing from the clouds that time. That was a pretty tight pack. That tells you right there he's getting better. He's understanding what he's supposed to do. It's entirely possible. Let's see. I tossed journalism for Knightsbridge because of pace. To be very honest with you guys, Knightsbridge, I reconsidered when I looked at the race, and I said, how often do you get Bill Mott at 14-1? And I wasn't high on journalism. Antiquarian, I think they rode him thinking his stamina was going to make the difference. They said, I can just run however I want, and I'll outlast this group. And it didn't prove to be true. He's a nice horse, but he's another one. He needs 2 turns. They just can't quite figure out what distance works for him yet. I think Renegade needs more rest. That genetic score on Golden Temple was high. So I think I remember. It was for the Derby, not for the Belmont. Otino had the highest for the Belmont. When you're bred for these races, it's a big advantage. You can't discount it. I guarantee it. Next year, genetic strength value is going to be really important. I promise you that. Renegade does probably need rest, but I wonder if he's plateaued. That's my only concern with Renegade. We'll see. Let's see. Daniel says, my instincts told me AG Bullet would finish second. The one exacta I did have. Yeah, that's fair. I think if Irad had run the horse before, he'd run him again, regardless of what shape he's in. Golden Pal, he didn't win the Breeders' Cup his last race. He had the same jockey he's had all the time. But that's probably not a good example. He broke poorly, but I know what you mean. Yeah, DRF ticket maker, Laura. If you use that and you leverage your strongest opinions, you can, first of all, save yourself some money. And secondly, caveman tickets are more expensive than doing it with Ticket Maker, and you can leverage based upon your prime opinions. I would recommend it. If you want to play horizontal wagers, it's a really good source. I made the mistake with Reef Runner not putting him on top because left. Me too, Teresa. Absolutely. Absolutely. It broke my heart. I was all over AG Bullet. I just didn't think he could lose. And that horse who got on the lead kind of screwed it up, my strategy. Yeah, you're right. You're right, Bill. Joe Mannix. My favorite name. For horizontal bets, I love the Grand Slam, but it is way harder than it sounds. Yeah, it's a tough one. Good to see you, Joe. It's never too late. Always glad to have you. Knightsbridge was a good-looking horse. He's a big one, too. That's the thing I've said that a couple of times. Englishman, I couldn't get over how big he was compared to the rest of them. Solitude Dude looked like a midget compared to him. He's a great-looking horse. We used to say, still do, he wins the race in the paddock every day. Some horses are like that. There's Zandon was one of them. He's just always like a emerging market's another one. Beautiful Chessie. The one I always harken back to is Rock Hard 10. Rock Hard 10 was 18 hands, and he was jet black, and he was just an absolutely beautiful looking horse. If you go back and watch the 2004 Preakness, he's running at the back. Or like when they're going down the backstretch, he's like 4 or 5 wide, and you can still see his head above everybody else. That's how big he was. Beautiful horse. He won the Santa Anita Handicap. Didn't chip terribly well, though. Any advice on pick fives? Robert, to me, I say it all the time about planting your flag. That to me is don't go crazy trying to hit pick fives, especially when if you look at like the Belmont pick 5, okay? This is a pretty good bet Nysos was going to win, right? That's a single. You either bet with Nysos or you throw him out and bet against him. That sequence had a lot of short prices in it. When you see that, you don't want to spend a lot of money because it kills your ROI because it's not going to pay a lot. I would use DRF Ticket Maker and I would leverage. But again, I think they're overrated. I think a lot of people spend way too much money on pick fives, in my opinion. You'll do much better if you concentrate on win and exactas and maybe even trifectas. They're much more doable. They're much better to hit. What's better? You can bet a pick five with Nisos, right? But what if you have an exacta with Nisos on top and like a 35 or 40 to 1 shot underneath and an ice cold exacta for $10? That probably going to pay better than the pick five. Still make money with a short price favorite. That's the way you do it. Hey, Joe, you get behind a horse, and when you get the right one, it's a sweet feeling. So good for you. Don't have DRF ticket maker. You go to DRF. There's an app, Laura, DRF ticket maker, and you can also use it on the DRF website. I believe you can use it within Formulator too. I'm not sure, but I think you can. Oh, very, very welcome, Joe. Thank you. It's a pleasure to have you. Always. I'm loving this. I was very reticent when I started this to do these live feeds. I wanted to get a little more established, and I'm so glad I did. We've had a really nice community, and you guys are great. Very happy to have you, Joe. Let's see. Daniel, always remember Golden Temple Circle. Yeah, that's when I got on him. I had him for LeCompte. That was an extremely impressive performance. The problem is he was running the same way in the LeCompte, the Risen Star, and the Louisiana Derby. So I kind of got off him a little bit because I said that's not going to hold water later on. But, he moved forward. Yes, she was, Teresa. Yeah, I love black horses too, Laura. Me too. Oh, good. Yes, Sean, you're absolutely right. Mesquite. Forgot all about him. I think he ran the LeCompte, and we never saw him again. And I think he's got a lot of potential. LeCompte, okay. He's definitely got potential. Yeah, you're right. That's one that happens all the time. They fall off the Derby trail because they get hurt, and you don't hear from them. And then all of a sudden, they rear their head later, and you go, "Where's he been?" He's one that, yeah. I'll be very interested to see what happens with him when he comes back. He closed really nicely in that race, as I recall, and most people thought he had a little more potential than Golden Tempo did. Yeah, she did. That was, it's one thing to win the Derby and then to have a Belmont day, like have Englishmen run like that, and then Golden Tempo win the Belmont. It's pretty sweet. Let's see. Can't access from. Oh, you're in Canada, Laura. I didn't know that. Do you play Woodbine or Assiniboia? Oh, you're out on the Vancouver side, right? Out in British Columbia. I'm surprised. I'm sorry you can't get that. That would be a really good thing. I bet Canada's got something like that. HitBet has the monopoly. Okay. Are you going to claim Chief Wallaby since you're the only one who likes him? Well, I'll say this. Now that the Triple Crown's over and Belmont has time to work with the horse, anything's possible. He's probably going to go back to the Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile. They'll put him on a progression for that, would be my guess. He's definitely green. I just remember that maiden race. It was just phenomenal. I just got really excited about him, but he clearly has to work the kinks out, and I hope he does. I'll be standing by. I felt like the Golden Tempo could have won or been second. A lot of people say that, Joe. Could very well be. I think a lot of people have revisited the Louisiana Derby and say, well, it wasn't that bad a race after all. It was a bad race. Nothing against anybody who ran at Golden Temple or whatever. But it was a bad race. Look at what Pavlovian did today. He ran his Derby on Louisiana Derby Day, and that should say it all. Chief one. That's good. I like that, Laura. It's true too. Yeah, he is kind of a wannabe, I guess. But hey, you know what? I've had. I think we've all had throughout our career horses that we loved who never quite got to where we thought they would. He may be one of them. I don't know. I did think third or fourth was likely where he was going to be in the Belmont. I did not think he could win it. Let's see. Okay. That's good, Laura. Yeah. Or Chief Wilby. Maybe he is Chief Wilby. We'll see. We running out of things to talk about? What do you think? Have we reached that bewitching hour? Okay. Okay. Well, I'm going to stop it here then, guys. And for those of you who are just listening on X, we're going to conclude things. I want to thank all of you and those of you who have been on these Q&As before and have subscribed and followed us. And this was the most fun Triple Crown I've had. And it's all because of you guys. I just love this. I wish I had done this a lot sooner. This was terrific. And I just can't tell you how much it means to me that we get to do this and get to weekly catch up with each other. And this is just, again, I can't thank you enough. This is the reward that I hoped I would get when I started doing this. And so I want to thank all of you personally for that. I really appreciate it. Don't forget the store is still open for merchandise. Just click on the store tab on the YouTube channel. And I just got a couple more here. Just to tell you what's up next, Laura, we are going to have some tutorials. I hope to get, I'm going to ask Kaylee Shapiro, thank you, Joe, to get on. Kaylee Shapiro is a friend of mine to come on and talk about visual handicapping. And we're going to see what we can do about getting somebody on to talk about betting. I think a lot of you have asked questions about that. I don't consider myself to be a great bettor. I'm a good bettor, but I think there are better bettors out there and that I do know and that I can hopefully implore to come on and talk to you about that. Yeah, we're going to have, this is a great time of year before Saratoga and Del Mar. Month of June is in July. We can do this. We can have some tutorials. I'll probably do just a real basic one with you guys where I'll come on and just talk about some real basic stuff. You'll have it noticed, so bring your questions. And but every aspect I can get, I've got a lot of associates, a lot of colleagues who don't handicap the way I do, and I'd like you guys to have some exposure to different perspectives. I think my way may not click with you, but one of theirs may. So we will definitely explore that. Now I think I saw a couple more. Yeah, yes, Sean, I'm going to do Ascot. I'm going to try to get some advanced copy. It's not always easy to do. A lot of times they don't issue the race card until like a day before, but I'm going to try. I love Ascot. Ascot, I highly encourage you guys. Go on Peacock and you can watch Royal Ascot in the morning if you have your mornings available to you. It's a lot of fun. In my opinion, Joe, what was the best prep? I think the Florida Derby was the best prep. Even after everything is said and done, I think it was the best. Let's see. Joe, he thinks what? You're right, Laura. You're very welcome, Joe. It's a pleasure to have you. Debbie, good to see you too. All you guys. Teresa, thank you for coming. I hadn't seen you before. Um, okay, good. I'm glad you got it now. Thank you, Jeannie. Appreciate it. Daniel, thank you for being one of our regulars. All you regulars, Paula. Yeah, what's next is next week. Like I said, I'm going to try to do a tutorial. And whether it's just me going over some basic handicapping stuff, or I'm like I said, I'm going to reach out and I'd like to do something about maybe visual handicapping or perhaps race replays. Bless you too, Sean. Thank you for coming by. May the road rise to meet you. Yeah, but we're going to be very big on that. Joe, yeah, I played a Cinnabon dance. I used to play it on Trust the Profits Monday and Tuesday nights. I think they still do it. I would recommend you go on over there and see my buddy Tim, the Chief. I'm going to get the Chief on. Yeah, I want you to. He's an old hard boot handicapper. He learned at the track. He's got definitely a different way of doing things than I do, but he knows what he's doing, and he's got a lot of neat little things. He will definitely be a guest for sure. He doesn't know it yet, but he will be. And I've got some other people in mind just to give you guys different perspectives and some different things, and that's what it's all about here. I want this to be about education. So. Oh, thank you, Laura. I enjoyed yours too. You're a trip, boy. I would love to meet you someday. Um, maybe Keeneland in the fall for the Breeders' Cup. I hope to be there. I can't promise I will. And I'll be at Saratoga all summer for definitely the Travers and likely the Whitney, and then maybe another day in between. So if any of you guys can get up to Saratoga, I'd love to spend some time with you for sure. But anyway, I think we're done. And again, thanks to all of you. This was great. It always is. And that's it from here. I'll talk to you soon. And until then, be well.